brought Mr. Genio Marin from FUMEC to give us a presentation on the semiconductor industry and seeing where there might be some possibilities for our region to compete for some of that business. Whether it's in the ATP process, a packaging process and testing, or whether it's in the manufacturing, actually the foundry part of the semiconductor business. As he mentioned, we really need to focus in and try to see if there's a good fit, and I think there is, but we need to bring all the players together as a region to be able to make something like this happen.
Why did you think this was important?
Well, because I know that there's a lot of funding available for the semiconductor industry. There's a lot of grant money. I think we have great education system here in the region, and we need to figure out what type of industries we want to attract in the next 15, 20, not in the immediate, but in the future. And some of that has to do with infrastructure. So if we want to attract companies in the semiconductor industry, I think we need to lay the foundation for the infrastructure so that we have the available assets to make those attractions a reality.
It was a very in-depth presentation. What struck you about that presentation? Was there anything that he said that encouraged you that our region can play a role in this?
I think what encouraged me and that I didn't know, when we think about semiconductors, we think about manufacturing the piece. But, again, there's a lot of opportunities throughout the supply chain of semiconductor. Engineering, I think, would be a great fit for us, the actual design of semiconductors and chips and things like that. The ATP, the testing, I think that's another area. If we try to, hone in on just attracting a semiconductor fabrication, manufacturing operations, I think we may be reaching too high in the beginning. But I think there's, throughout the supply chain of the semiconductor industry, I think there are several areas that there is a good fit for us as a region.
The fact that we're on the border, Mexico's our neighbor, or our partner in many business activities, is that an attraction for us? Is that an advantage for us in this industry?
I think, as Eugenio mentioned, Mexico integrates a lot of those chips and sensors and things into the automotive industry, into the electronics industry, and they're sourcing all those chips from Asia, somewhere in Asia. The fact that we could develop some of that product here, whichever part of the supply chain, the semiconductor, and feed that to our closest neighbor for their integration, I think it speaks volumes for what we could do here in the region.
Another topic, CoStep's work in general. Anything big that you're working on that you'd like to tell the viewers about right now?
Yeah, definitely. As I've mentioned to you before in various other interviews, I think we're still lacking a regional strategic plan, a holistic plan inclusive of government, inclusive of infrastructure, inclusive of academia. So that's why I mentioned at the end of the presentation that CoStep is exploring the possibility, CoStep and the foundation is exploring the possibility of commissioning a strategic plan, not a study. We don't need another study. What we need is an actual strategic plan as to where we want to be 20, 30, 50 years from now, and how we can come together as a region and make that happen in the near future.
But like you said in your remarks, there's got to be buy-in from everyone, because those plans are very expensive to produce, so you want the whole community, all the different EDCs to say yes.
Yes, we need EDCs, we need academia, as I mentioned, we need the actual communities to buy into it, because again, it starts with academia. So academia has to make that shift to say, okay, we're going to start training people for X industries that we're going to pursue. Currently, I think we're pursuing really whatever comes our way, and we may be selling ourselves short by being that way. We need to create, a handful of industries that we're going to focus at and try to bring them down, but create the infrastructure first and the business case to help attract those industries.